Well, good evening. Welcome to Grover Hill Zion United Methodist Church Thursday evening devotions from the kitchen table. This is still part of the Easter season yet. For another week, the day of Pentecost will be here. The Pentecost takes place 50 days after the resurrection, so there's a few more days yet, and the day of Pentecost will be here. So we're still in the season of Easter. And when we think about the season of Easter, I think that Jesus appeared to many people. And for us today, we long to see Jesus as well. Isn't that our goal as followers of Christ, that we just long to see Jesus? I've been thinking about that. How can we see Jesus? Well, we focus on so much evil in this world. You know, especially if you watch the 24-hour news very much, you can't help but listen and hear all the evil that's all seems to be all around us today. But I've been thinking about this. You know, it seems like there's a lot of evil around us, and we focus on that. And evil exists in our world today in greater abundance than it seems to have appeared. Although I don't think it is greater, it's still there. But evil exists all around us because we allow it. We allow it. You know, there was a great philosopher by the name of Edmund Burke, and this, you're probably familiar with this quote, but this is attributed to him. And he talks about evil existing and the reason for it. He said that evil prevails. Evil prevails because good people do nothing. We do nothing. We sit around and we just watch it, and we close our eyes and we look the other way. So the only thing necessary, he says, for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. Jesus tells us in John's Gospel, chapter 14, verse 9, Jesus is talking with Philip, and Philip says, "Jesus, I want to see the Father." And Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you so long, and yet you still do not know me?" You know, sometimes I think we are around Jesus and we've known him for so long, and yet we don't know him as well. But anyway, Jesus continued, "Whoever has seen me has seen the Father." So how can you say, "Show us the Father"? Well, how do we see Jesus? How do we see Jesus in everyday life? It can be done in some very simple ways. We can catch that glimpse of Jesus. We can get to know him by encountering him in the Holy Scriptures and reading those and studying those, meeting him in the sacraments, join him by encountering him in Holy Communion, talk to him in praise and adoration, and receive his grace in prayer and confession, in prayer services. Those are just some ways that we can encounter Jesus. And I'll share with you a couple more here in a moment. But there's a beautiful old song in our chorus book. It says, "Open our eyes, Lord," and it just says, "Open our eyes, Lord. We want to see Jesus." Isn't that our goal in life here? To see Jesus, to reach out and to touch him and say that we love him. Open our ears, Lord, and help us to listen. Open our eyes, Lord. We want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus. Isn't that what we want to do? Well, Jesus tells a parable in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, verses 31 through 46. The parable of the least of these. Remember, Jesus said, he tells the saints, he tells the good people on his right, he says, "Listen, you saw me naked and you clothed me. You saw me hungry and you fed me. You saw me sick and you came to me. You saw me in prison and you visited me. You saw me in need and you helped me. And they said, Lord, when did we see you in those predicaments? And Jesus said, when you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me. And notice that when Jesus is telling this parable, really he's talking about uncalculated help. He's really saying, listen, don't give to get. None of these people did when they gave help. But give because you're Christ's follower. Give because that's who you are in life. Give. You know, the wonderful truth of giving to Christ is that all such help in helping those in need, real need, is given unto Jesus. And so when you help somebody in need, you're really helping Christ. And when you're looking at them, you really see Jesus. You really see Jesus. Let me tell you two examples. Now these are dated. They've been around for a while. There are many modern day stories as well. But these are two of the church's saints. And I'd like to just share these with you as well. St. Francis of Assisi was the patron saint of the animals. Born in 1181, died on October the 3rd in 1226. St. Francis was a wealthy, high-born, high-spirited man, full of energy, very wise. It's reported that he was out riding one day and he came upon a leper who was horribly disfigured by this awful disease. You know, that's what leprosy does. It just eats your body away. When he saw this wretched man, he felt compelled to get down from his horse and just to go over and throw his arms around the man and to give him a great big hug. Most people never would have done that because they were afraid of the disease. But Francis did. He gave him a big hug. And then it's reported that when Francis looked into the man's face, he saw the face of Christ. As he helped this man, comforted this man, he saw the face of Christ. One last person I'll share with you about is Martin of Tours, born in 316, died on November the 8th, 397. Martin of Tours was a Roman soldier, and he was a Christian. On a cold winter night, he was walking into town, and a beggar man asked him for alms. Martin, of course, as a soldier, didn't have any money. But he took off his soldier's cloak, and he cut it in two, and he gave one half of his cloak to this poor beggar man. That night, when he returned to his quarters and went to sleep, he had a dream. And he saw a heavenly scene full of angels, and he saw Jesus standing in their midst, wearing half of a Roman soldier's cloak. And an angel said, "Master, why are you wearing that old worn-out soldier's cloak? Who gave it to you?" And Jesus answered softly, "My servant Martin gave it to me." So you get the idea of what Jesus is telling us. If you want to see him, when you help someone in need, you're doing it unto Christ himself. Help those in need. You're helping Christ, and you can know the joy in helping others in giving to Jesus. And when you do that, you'll see the face of Christ. You'll see the face of Christ in others. Well, I hope you're enjoying this beautiful day today, and they say the next few days are supposed to be even better than today. Have a great and blessed week.